Okay, all good. I hope everyone can hear us.
Yes.
So, let's start. So we've been working on the iOS project template lately as a kind of a random idea. And so what we want to achieve, the main goals are kind of to have a template that we can use on iOS projects, because right now when starting a new project, takes around probably a week to set up all the environments, CI, code signing. Usually the first week of the project is useless, and you have to factor that in. And the more we can reduce that time, kind of the better for everyone, and the easier it is to start new projects. Also, it would, if we had a common template that everyone used, then we didn't have to do like custom configurations to get it working like we want. We would have a lot more consistency, less chances of slow build times, um, and just everyone will be happier overall, as you know it. Currently, 2 years ago, as a Nimble Growth project, not sure which session, but more than 2 years ago, Jason and Tim made a template as well. It's great, but it's outdated. It's not being maintained. There's no. Jason was the one who knew how to make changes to it, and Jason is not here anymore. Also, it kind of requires that you know a lot of things before kind of creating a project. If you don't know these things, then adding them later is pretty much the same as not using a template at all. For example, you have to know like a bunch of things for Fastlane Match, like the private repository that you have to create private repo beforehand to put the signing certificates and provisioning profiles in, and then put it in the command line. So there's what, over 10 command line prompts just to create a project, which isn't very user friendly. It works in the end, but it creates a lot of unnecessary stuff. And also, yeah, the template doesn't work anymore, so it leaves project name as the name with the underscores. So that's not ideal. Probably we could have managed something and updated it and have it modern and nice. But what's the fun in that? Come on. Okay. Oops. Okay, so the main goals are kind of looking at the past few projects that I worked on, which is the one Red Planet, now Omise Labs. We tried to get all the best parts of those projects and kind of put them in a template. So some things that we always have is multiple environments. So, and that's actually one of the hardest things to set up in Xcode. So that can easily take a whole day just getting it right. So having a staging UAT and production environment where you can just select for which one you want to build is really, really convenient. And of course, having a distribution and development mode for each of those with different settings, of course. We also want to have Swiftlint with our own iOS chapter agreed upon linking rules, which are quite a lot and a bit more involved than the standard linking rules, because we like things how we like them. And then, of course, also the most commonly used CocoaPods, which is Alamo for networking, SnapKit for UI, Swiftlint for linting, Quick Nimble testing, and Sorcery for generating auto-generated protocols for testing as well. And of course, we chose to do it in the most fun way possible, is by editing Xcode's default templates. At the beginning, it looks like it's very doable. You can do a lot of things with it as long as you dig deep enough. Oh, come on, why is it not doing that? The problem is that it's different than making other templates. Everything is in a plist file. So this is a, oh my God, the quality on this projector. People who are on monitors can probably see something. On here, I can't see anything, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, you define all the targets, all the included files, everything. It's in a plist file in XML format basically. And you make one small mistake, it's worse than missing like semicolon at the end of a C statement, a C line. So it just everything breaks and nothing works as you expected it. But that's what adds the additional fun to it. And we did a lot of things actually. A lot of those things were done by Bliss lately. So I'm gonna actually let him talk about the challenges he faced and then how he went through the mud and figured that stuff out.
Okay, so the first thing I did after I got the template from Ed implements the targets for each of the environments. So there was staging and UAT, and there was production. So what was lacking was that in a Xcode project, you want you can't read on it. So you want code optimization level on each of the environments. So you might want fast code optimization, or you might want non-code optimization. For those, I try to figure out how to edit the build setting. That's what it called on Xcode. So that was after I done that, the result is that you can create this template in a second and not wasting days like it say. And also we were allowed to remove or add new targets. Like if we have more environments than we needed, that would be easier than we have to edit each of the properties. So let's imagine when you create one environment, you get 20 properties, and those are separated in different parts of the plist. But with this template, you can just put it in one place and have it all be consistent throughout all of your projects. So the next thing we did was we add build phase configuration to it. So this part that you can see from the right the right part of the screen. When you have Xcode project, there's a little code that you can run when you run your projects. So this I add little codes to it that run the r.swift, so it generates template when you're testing. And what we did was we also include a checkbox, like if you want this in your project or not. So you might not want this in every of your projects. So giving you a user the options to choose if you want this or not would help them like define their own template. And the last thing we did was we create schema files in the project, which also match the targets that we create for the environments. It's also we also make it possible to restructure the files in the Xcode project. So when you start a project, the template that was given to you was not up to the Nimble standard. So we find a way to copy any files we want. Like we can copy Swift lints, or we can copy other view controller or any pattern into the project and have the project structure the way you want, just from the process. Are you gonna show the project?
Yeah, maybe.
So it's it's just when
It won't be interesting. There's no iOS people here.
So
oh yeah, I didn't notice him. I don't know why he barely counts anymore.
And Sue as well.
Well,
That's what you're doing.
So we took a word that we would done in weeks and make it into minutes. So that's like what we accomplished.
Yeah. So there's of course still a lot of. Hmm. So there's still a few things left that we, of course, didn't have time to finish in these 1.5 days. So one thing that the old project template had, it set up fast lane and fast lane match and then some CI things. But the issue was that when you're starting a project, you don't know some of those things that are needed to kind of set up those repos. Or,
Sorry, Ed, time is up. So can you go a little
okay,
bit
this
faster?
last slide. We're finishing. 10 seconds. Yeah, the idea is to have a kind of script that you run at a later date to set up like some specific things, and you could basically run that on any project. You don't have to know all those things before starting a project because projects are different. Like sometimes we use the client's GitHub repo. There's weird security settings, so not every project is the same, so the more we can fit for every occasion, the better it is. CI integration, some automatically would be great. Right now, documentation for what we've done is a bit lacking. Swift UI is not really necessary yet since we're not working with it, but nice to have, and it's open and it's possible to improve upon it with Swift UI. And of course, keep the discussion open in the iOS chapter and hopefully have everyone contribute to the project and making it better. And hopefully it doesn't, just become a dead project like the old template. Thank you very much, everyone. And,
Thank you, Ed. So will we continue on this project in the next session?
I don't think we will continue as a Nimble Growth. Maybe if someone else decides to. But editing these p-lists is not fun. It's very tiring, and I think like we kind of have the minimum amount like a very good amount is currently done with the Xcode template, and the rest I think should be done with like standalone tools. Like I mentioned, setting up like the CI. Maybe we can figure out how to do it even easier. Although Bitrise is really easy to set up, but stuff like a fast line match for code signing and provisioning, for stuff like that, we can probably kind of maybe even steal some code from the old template and add that stuff onto an existing project instead of try to generate completely everything when starting a project.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe some back-end guy can help on the provision.
Maybe, yeah. If we have any issues, we'll definitely invite some backend guys to help with that.
Okay. Is there another question?
A quick one. I caught like not the beginning, so sorry if I'm asking you to repeat something. But so you mentioned that there are some elements that are kind of project specific, right? And that's I think it's the case with basically every project. You mentioned that you can kind of like cover some of these areas by running some other scripts like afterwards. What aspects can you cover with this kind of like post initialization of the project kind of like scripting?
So we have it was actually made by Byte, which is a really nice tool. It generates a env file from, you basically tell which passwords you need from 1Password, and using the 1Password API, it kind of connects and downloads them all securely without exposing them anywhere. So when you commit code to the repo, your keys and passwords and stuff, sensitive stuff like that, it's not in the repo.
you only have the basically the keys for the one password. So when setting up, you have to run that script kind of, so it downloads all the nice values for your local stuff. So the big one is kind of like Fastline Match, which is responsible for signing, code signing. So it has certificates and the provisioning profiles, and there's an easy way to let us regenerate them. For example, when we add new devices, we have to regenerate the provisioning profiles every time. So it's nice to be able to just run a command instead of regenerating them every time. But that has to be on a private GitHub repo. For some projects, we actually still do a private Nimble repo, but for all client projects, it usually happens like 2-3 weeks into the project, where they sit, like for obviously labs, I think it took like 1 or 2 months when I finally got checked to create us a repo where we didn't even have admin rights. So it took like a whole day to get the proper rights to even upload anything there. It was a nightmare. So stuff like that, which we can't really control. Other things, yeah, we create with 3 environments, but if we only use few, it doesn't matter anything. We just have an extra one that we can, from UAT rename it to something else and just use production and staging. What other things are there? I don't know, it sets up quite a lot, and like one of the, I think I didn't mention it, but we talked about it in the retro, that there are a lot of things that we reuse between projects. For example, the networking library, which is pretty much identical in the one and Omise Labs. The issues are that it doesn't really fit into a template that much, because the common things are like protocols and definitions, and the implementation itself is project specific. So the idea is to probably have like a example project made out of this template as well, where we can steal some commonly used code. Like this sprint, I stole a bunch of code from the one for the QR scanner. And we have a bunch of things like these in different projects that if you haven't worked on it, you probably don't know even that it exists. But if we combine our knowledge, we could probably have a lot of kind of tools like, I don't know, like element modules that we edit a tiny bit, and we have something working in a lot faster than within a sprint.